Am I the asshole for keeping my promise of training her kids like dogs when my cousin dumps them on me? I'm sorry if the title isn't accurate. I can't think of another description to describe the training. My cousin Amy 25F has 6M twins and has a nasty habit of dumping them onto relatives to babysit for the entire day without any warning or regard for their time. I 27F have a very strained relationship with her, but because my mom's side of the family demands that we all remain close-knit, so I have no choice to tolerate her. When she initially gave birth to them, she teased me that I'll have to take on babysitting duty from now on. I'm no good with kids, so I remarked to her that if I ever have them, I'll train them, not babysit. She brushed me off. The kids now are hella destructive and loud. Pulling out stuffing inside furniture, holes inside walls, smashing anything glass and porcelain, screaming louder than a fire alarm, you name it. When it was my first turn to deal with them, I immediately walked with them to the store and grabbed the biggest bag of M&Ms I could find and trained them so that every time they follow my orders and behave, they get one. If they misbehave, I get one. Soon enough, every time the kids were dumped on me, they went with my guidelines and behaved. Whenever I say sit, they sit at the table. When I say stay, they don't leave that spot, etc. 2 days ago there was a party planned with the whole extended family. I know, pandemic. Didn't want to, but mom insisted, and I grabbed the M&M since the twins were there. Arrived, twins were being so destructive, an entire tray of food was spilled that all the adults had enough and yelled at Amy to control them. She vomited the same excuse of them just being kids and they'll grow out of it eventually. I shouted the twins' names and shook my M&M bag. They came running over to me and I popped 6 pieces into my mouth for their misbehavior. I told them to go clean up the mess or no candy all night. They do so. Halfway through the party, every time something similar came up or they just weren't behaving, I was the one able to calm them down. When Amy saw what I was doing, she got angry and started yelling at me about how her children aren't animals and that I shouldn't be giving them so much candy anyway. I told her that I'm their aunt, not their parent. Why am I the one disciplining them? Isn't that her job? She screamed the same argument at me, and since she's their mother, to stop giving them candy. One of the twins overheard and went apeshit. Dashed straight into the kitchen and started shattering anything they can get his hands on, shouting over and over that he wants candy. His twin joined him soon after. I repeated that she's their mother, and just sat in the living room watching it all unfold. At the end, Amy blamed me for them turning out this way. The other relatives she dumped them on, a majority, disagreed, but when I told a friend about the situation, he told me that the training I did can really fuck up the kids mentally later in life. So, am I the asshole? Not the asshole. This is hilarious. Not the asshole. This is kinda funny. She's not a good parent for not discipling them herself. You told her they would be trained. They were. At least they have a system for discipline. Yeah, these kids are not gonna be harmed by you training them with M and Ms. If anything, it should show their mom they are apparently able to control themselves. You do you, it's very smart and also hilarious. Also, I think you just might be their favorite aunt. Lol. Go girl. Not the asshole. If Amy doesn't like you treating them like animals, maybe she should have come up with a better parenting strategy than just dumping them on other family members. They sound destructively out of control. Too bad you're the only one who has come up with a solution. Not the asshole. And #X200B. You should try clicker training your dog in 10 simple steps, which would eventually remove the candy, much better for their health. And seeing as they are such high energy, consider agility training, fun for all involved. You are the asshole. But to yourself. I 27F. My mom's side of the family demands that we all remain close-knit, so I have no choice to tolerate her. I know, pandemic. Didn't want to, but mom insisted. Grow a fucking backbone. Not the asshole. You've proven the kids can be taught to behave. Your cousin just lost her go-to line when she lets the twins run wild. At least she won't dump the kids on you again. Not the asshole. It's classic behavior modification. Rewards, positive reinforcement for the behaviors you want. Consequences, negative reinforcement for the behaviors you don't want. You just have to make the rewards consequences appropriate for their age and maturity. So for now, it's M&Ms. Maybe in a couple years, it's video game time. Maybe one day, the reward will be spending time with their favorite auntie. Although I will say, it sounds to me like it might be worth your while to start training that sister of yours. Training kids like animals really isn't cute or cool. But she seems to have assumed you exist to be a free babysitter and she doesn't discipline her kids. More info needed. Do you literally bark commands at them, or is it more so you asking them to do things and they listen because you reward them with candy? I mean, this is just amazing, but your friend is right. This kind of training where people only behave decently if there's a reward then misbehave again if there's no reward is great for a dog, terrible for humans. If you've ever watches Parks and Rec, there's a female character who goes around saying, "Money please," and breaking things if she doesn't get money. That's the end result. So, was this story good? Absolutely. Should you be doing it? Absolutely not. 2 days ago there was a party planned with the whole extended family. I know, pandemic. Didn't want to, but mom insisted. And that's how shit spreads. You should be telling her no, we're in a fucking pandemic, we don't need a party, WTF. Not the asshole. It's a legitimate way to get kids to behave. It's the same as promising to pay kids off with money or toys or ice cream for behaving. This post sounds very fake. The reactions described in the story are just not how actual human beings behave, but I guess I'll play along. Everyone sucks here, and I do mean everybody. Your whole family sounds terrible. It is hilarious, but it does fuck kids up mentally. Speaking for experience, sad face. But Amy needs to learn parenting and stop dumping them unannounced. As a zookeeper and a parent, I love this. I taught my son to do his own laundry with positive reinforcement. Used M and Ms for teaching him colors, shapes, alphabet letters and numbers. Not the asshole. What you're doing isn't going to harm them and is infinitely better than your cousin's idea of parenting. Edit. Cousin not sister. Your aunt more than you. That style of training can really mess up kids later in life if used consistently, but even that is much better than whatever non-structure their mom is using. The bottom line is, you should draw firm boundaries and not put yourself in a position where you have to try to clean up her bad parenting. If your family doesn't like it, they can volunteer. At the point their response to, "no candy," is to wreck the kitchen and the mom still doesn't see a problem, they are way too far gone and she needs a firm wake-up call. Your family for pressuring you into things you don't want to do. Your sister for not taking responsibility for her kids. And you for an obvious superiority complex. So much you have the ability to say no as an adult but you don't. Also, if someone gives you their children to watch and you don't want to or can't, call CPS. Call the police. But training kids like dogs hurts the kids. They learn from you, go destroy stuff, get yelled at, they behave, get treat, repeat cycle. You need to tell your family no. Mommy dearest needs to be a mom. Superdy duperdy. You are the asshole. Not the asshole. Girl, you're my F-king hero. You did what you had to do when she dumps them on you. If she parented her kids from the start, they wouldn't behave like they do. And for the love of God, stop letting her dump them on you. If it were me, I wouldn't give a flying FK if I saw her or her kids again. You didn't have them, she did. Info. Do you tell them to sit like you would a dog? Or really do you give commands like you would a kid? Not the asshole. I could see how, if this were the only training interaction a child had, it could fuck them up and accustom them to instant gratification. As opposed to learning how to delay gratification, which generally produces healthier adults. But what you're doing is not likely to make a long-term difference. Especially compared to their mother. We always wonder where the good parents are. Not the asshole. This is amazing and you are at least trying, which is more than anyone else in your family. Soon enough, every time the kids were dumped on me, they went with my guidelines and behaved. Whenever I say sit, they sit at the table. When I say stay, they don't leave that spot, etc. You're a genius. Not the asshole. Edit. Also no, what? This has no harmful effects, other than diabetes if they're too well behaved, I guess. Adults do this all the time, calling it working for pay. You're just paying the kids with M&Ms. Not the asshole. It's a few candies at a time, you don't stuff them with pastry at every meal. Even if these kids don't have ADHD or a severe behavioral disorder, they are practically begging for structure. Teachers won't tolerate this behavior and they will end up being medicated just so they can get an education. Their mother needs to stop treating them like, well, ill-behaved, amusing pets, and more like children that have to understand how the world works. Your mother should stop being a doormat and have a talk with her. I wish CPS did real counseling. Sounds like your sister needs to learn how to parent. This is a disaster all around, but at least you've proven that are capable of self-control. At best, it's a jumping-off point. Everyone sucks here, but for the kids, cannot hold anything against 6yo. The biggest being their mother and op. Nobody took to disciplining the kids appropriately. To say the least, the others avoided destructive methods that you used. You are directing all your cousin hate on her unsuspecting kids, literally destroying them emotionally. Not the asshole. True story, my mother was a dog handler and trainer. Apparently I was potty trained over a weekend using a bag of M&Ms as positive reinforcement. 1 for number 1 in the potty, 2 for number 2. I am 41 years old and she still brags about this. Not the asshole. And this is fucking hysterical. Dude, there is no fucking way this is real. Everyone sucks here. Amy for being a neglectful mum, you for training her kids as if they were animals, yes, that could harm them in the long run, and also showing them that food candy is a reward. It shouldn't get that place, if you want people to have a healthy relationship with food. Also, you seem to also suffer from a lack of spine, just like Amy with her kids. You stay in contact cause your family says so, and you have pandemic parties cause your mum wants it. Don't know about you, but I already lost 3 members of my family, and in my country, the hospitals are now starting to be too full to still function. This could all be avoided if it wasn't for people like you and your family. My 2 uncles would still be alive, my cousin as well. And my other cousins would still have fathers. Definitely Esh. I realize this goes against the grain here, but you are the asshole on this one. You shouldn't give kids so much candy against parents' wishes. I think it also isn't a healthy way to teach children, do what I say, get a reward. They need to understand that they have reasons for doing things, yes, even young children, and they need to get permission from parents for doing or not doing other things. I don't think most people realize how things like this can set up kids poorly later in life. I don't think you should babysit the kids if you don't want to, and I think you need to apologize to your sister. The fact that the reaction to, no candy, was to smash up things goes to show your training wasn't actually working after all. Esh. Your sister is horrible but your friend is right. Stop blaming everyone else for your shitty choices. You're a fully grown adult. You absolutely can say no to babysitting and going to parties in a pandemic. Not the asshole. And this reminds me of that Big Bang Theory episode where Sheldon trains Penny to be less annoying by giving her pieces of chocolate. Not the asshole. However, to make the training truly stick, you need to start phasing out the reinforcement. Every 3 times they behave they get candy, then every 5 and so on. Everyone sucks here. She needs to discipline them. You shouldn't be giving them a sugar habit. This is a poor work of fiction. Not the asshole. I love this. I've always said that kids are very similar to dogs, just not as well trained, but you changed that. Tears of joy. Esh. Amy for being a negligent parent, and you for deliberately inflicting actual psychological damage to the kids with your training. This isn't real. Esh. She shouldn't dump her kids on you, and she should discipline them, but this isn't a good way to treat kids. Then again, you did warn her. Esh. I get how your cousin is the major here, but in your conflict you involved her children, which is always a move for me. Just don't. I don't think that training hurts them, but it's still not a proper way to treat them. It's funny though, I admit. Not the asshole. Might sound unorthodox, but positive reinforcement like this actually yields better results than negative reinforcement, or as your cousin does, passive parenting. Esh. Yeah, these kids aren't being raised by their mother and she is obviously the bigger asshole in this situation. But your friends is right, these kids deserve better. Ultimately the only kind of training they're getting right now is at school and from you, and it's gonna fuck them up later. They're not learning good things. You're definitely not a good person for keeping your promise, but I don't think you're the biggest problem here. I would find something other than sugar to motivate the kids. There's a chance you're developing eating disorders in 2 innocent children. Isn't that called positive reinforcement? IDK, I might be wrong, I know it's positive something. A lot of parents use this. You don't clean your room, you don't get to play a video game. A reward system. It's your sister's fault they have no respect for others or their property. She messed up with the oldest because now the youngest is just going to follow along. Not the asshole. If she doesn't like your method, then maybe she should stop abandoning her kids with you. Not the asshole. This is hilarious and amazing. I know someone who babysat her roommate's kids a lot, and did a similar training tactic. Except in that case, the roomie was pleased the kid was behaving. Info. Psychologist here. Why does your friend think this can fuck them up mentally? I feel like your dislike for your cousin influences how you view the kids. They are little persons, and they don't know any better with a shitty mother like that. I know it's not your duty to look after them, but don't let your resentment for your cousin spill over to the kids. This is unfortunately a situation where you as a grown-up must act in the best interests of the children. Not the asshole. Forget those family rules about being close. They're not worth it.